The Nasdaq 100 made a new all-time high last week with more down volume than up volume and more declining stock than advancing stock. So did the S&P 500. It also made a new all-time high with more down volume than up volume and more declining stock than advancing stock. Does this mean the market had made a top? In this video, we'll look at the internals and the price action to see what the market is telling us. Stay tuned. The S&P 500 is in a 4-week winning streak. It was up 1.38% last week, and the Dow Jones Industrial was the best performer last week with a gain of 1.43%, while the Nasdaq 100 was the third best performer with a gain of 1.27%. The Dow Jones Transportation and the Russell 2000 both incurred a loss for the week. In addition, the S&P 500 is also in a 4-month winning streak. It gained 1.59% in January and 2.33% for the first week of February and 3.96% year to date. The Nasdaq 100 is still the top performer. It gained 4.85% already for the year to date. And the Russell 2000 continued to be the worst performer. It had lost 3.93% in January and negative 3.17% for the year to date. Now, the VIX is still under 15, sitting at 13.85, and the put-call ratio is just above the 0.75 level at 0.77. So the market participants are cautiously complacent. The New York Stock Exchange was under selling pressure in 3 out of the 5 trading sessions last week. Likewise, for the daily advanced decline, 3 trading sessions had more declining stock than advancing stock, and notice the divergence on Friday. Now, there are more new 52-week high than 52-week low in the NYSE, but the number of new 52-week high is low for the S&P 500 to make a new all-time high. S&P 500 make new all-time high with negative divergence with the NYSE cumulative AD line. The AD line has been moving down while the S&P 500 has been moving up. The Nasdaq 100 made another new all-time high last week while it was experiencing selling pressure and more stock going down than up. A sign of a weak high is when you see more stock make new 52-week low than 52-week high when the Nasdaq 100 is at an all-time high. The divergence between the Nasdaq 100 and the Nasdaq cumulative AD line continue to get more negative, so it's just a matter of time for the market to correct this divergence, and when it does, it will not look good for the mega cap stock. Now, let's take a look at the 11th sector in the S&P 500, starting with the technology sector, the XLK. Now, looking at a trend basis, we see that it is still outperformed, although recently it showed a little bit of underperformance. And the healthcare is still underperformed, so is the consumer discretionary. We did see a little bit of a outperformance recently from the financial on a trend basis, and also the communication, but the industrial is still underperformed. And for the consumer stable, it's underperformed, energy underperformed, and also real estate is underperformed, while the material and the utility are also underperformed. And looking at other sector, we see the semiconductor sector is still outperformed, while the oil is underperformed, and also the oil exploration sector is underperformed. Now, we did see the retail seems to be showing a little bit of an outperformance recently. And the biotech, we are still looking at underperformance, and also the minor. Now, looking at the bank and the regional bank, on a relative trend basis, we are seeing some outperformance, but recently we did see a little bit of underperformance in the last week or so. And for the home builder, we are still seeing outperformance on a trend basis, but recently we did see a little bit of underperformance, and the long-term bond, the TLT, is underperformed. And looking at this yield curve, the 10-year versus the 2, we are still seeing it inverted, and it went lower for the week. And the 10-year versus 3-month also went lower for the week. Now, the 10-year yield dipped below 3.85% last week, and then came back up above 4%, sitting at 4.032, slightly lower than last week. The dollar moved back up above the 103.82 and closed the week at 103.962. Still keeping an eye to see would it be able to come up and reclaim this 105.883 level. And the dollar future is moving toward this composite point of control near this 104. So I'm still looking for it to come up and see would it be able to take out this 105.845 area. Oil still unable to stay above 75. It made a brief move above the 78 level, but then it pulled back, and right now it's sitting at 73.25. Silver is still hovering at 22.40 level, so it's nothing to see here. And gold is still trying to break out from the balance area to see would it be able to move above this 2090 area. So we're just basically watching to see would it be able to break out of this consolidation area here. Now let's take a look at the indexes, starting with the NASDAQ 100. NASDAQ 100 made a new all-time high and still looking for it to make this symmetry measure move up to this 18,300 area. If we see a pullback in the near term, watch for these potential gap fill down here near the 17,000 and 16,700 area. The Russell 2000 is still unable to break out from this consolidation area and still watching the transportation to pull back to this 15,000 level. The Dow Jones Industrial made a new all-time high last week and went above the 38,000 level. So the next round number to keep an eye on will be the 39,000 level, and continue to watch for a potential pullback to come back down and backtest this old all-time high near the 37,000 level. Now the SP 500 made a new all-time high along hitting this symmetry move near the 4,900 level. So it closed near the upper range from last week's expected move. And the upper range for this week is between 5,030 and 5,017.70. And the lower range is between 4,899.60 and 4,875. We're going to be watching for the 5,000 level to get hit. And if there's a pullback, then we'd be looking for a potential pullback down to this 4,900 area. Now, before I give you my summary on what I see the market is telling us, I invite you to go check out my Substack page and check out the analysis for the S&P 500 ETF, the SPY, and the E-mini S&P 500 futures. I cover that along with my trading plan for Monday. The link is smtradersca.substack.com. Now, here's my summary. I do not believe the top has been made yet, because we saw multiple indexes make all-time high last week at the same time. The Dow Jones Industrial, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ 100 made new all-time high on the same day. Market do not top with multiple indexes making new high. It topped with a single index making new high. And that index cannot be a broad market index such as the New York Stock Exchange Composite. Now, in the near term, I do anticipate a pullback of some sort due to the negative internal we saw from last week, especially on Friday. After this pullback, we'll likely see a move to a new all-time high by one of these three indexes, the Dow Jones Industrial, the S&P 500, or the NASDAQ 100. If I were to guess today, my guess is the NASDAQ 100. Now, that's just a guess, so best to just wait and see. So click the thumbs up if you like this video and support this channel by subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching and good luck on your trading.